That's what I told the tax collectors. I'm not paying those greedy bastards a cent. Anyway, if you couldn't guess already, this episode is all about dying, or rather, undying. That's right, in this video we're going to be covering the Rock Zombies archetype. Let's go over their main mechanics, units, and where they sit on the archetype matrix. And if you're curious about the lore, they certainly have a good amount, but it contains a lot of spoilers around the escalating tensions between Hell, the Divine Powers, and the Cursed Kingdom. So for now, we're just going to say that a bunch of rock stars died, came back from the dead by a Groovomancer, and the Groovomancer is a special necromancer that can revive you as long as you're playing music. Yeah. Anyway, these bad boys take death metal to a whole new level. Let's rock! So kicking off with the main gimmick of the rock zombies, Encore, Amp, and Crowd. These are the phases that the zombies have, and the zombies can use special effects during these phases based on trigger, during, and end. Now that might be a little confusing, so let me explain. I didn't even write a joke. The hell are you guys laughing for? Anyway, let's say that a zombie has trigger Encore, I heal 1 health. This means that when you activate the Encore phase, the zombie heals 1 health. If a zombie has during amp, I have +0/+2, this means that while you're in the amp phase, the zombie has an extra 2 health. And finally, end crowd, deal 1 damage to a unit. This means that when you switch the state from crowd to anything else, the zombie deals 1 damage to a unit. And in terms of buff they use, it's none! This archetype is the only archetype so far that has no buffs. Not Holy Barrier, not Bleed, not even Blight Hammer, nothing. Anyway, let's get into it. Kicking it off with the opening act, we've got their minions. All these guys are easy to use and are powerful in the right circumstances. The backup drummer is a 1-1 unit, but if you're an Encore, it becomes a 2-2 unit. The backup guitarist is also a 1-1 unit, but if you're an Amp, he deals 1 damage to the battling card. And finally, the backup singer, another 1-1 unit, but when you enter crowd, he heals an ally on your side of the field for 1 health. And now let's enter the main act, the mids. On the mic, we've got the Graveyard Vocalist. On guitar, we've got the Tombstone Bassist. And on the drums, we've got the Tombstone Basher. The Graveyard Vocalist is a solid card that gives damage during Amp to all zombies with an Amp effect. And when you enter Amp, you can either give 2 allies 1 attack, or give the Graveyard Vocalist 2 attack. He's got loads of damage buffs, and he's here to start a mosh pit. The Tombstone Basher is a strong stat stick in the right circumstances. When you leave Amp, it gains 3 attack, and when you enter Encore, it gains 3 health. It could be either super tanky or super heavy hitting. He wields hammers for drumsticks and plays a mean tombstone, so you better dance till you're dead. And finally, the Tombstone Bassist. It lives for the crowd. When you enter crowd, it deals 1 damage to an ally to deal 3 damage to an enemy. And when you leave crowd, it deals 2 damage to a card that battled this combat. This guy's got loads of effect damage, and his riffs will rip you apart. And before we say goodbye to the Rotting and Rocking Dead, let's call him back one more time. But this time, the bosses are taking stage. First up, the One-Man Band, a super powerful card that gains stats whenever you enter a state. He also gets to attack twice while you're an amp. Lore-wise, we won't cover anything right now, but metal haters beware, this One-Man Band is here to lay down some deadly riffs. And lastly, we've got the lead vocalist. Messing with him is a grave mistake. He might not have much attack on his own, but the more units with Encore on your side of the field, the higher his attack. He also deals 2 damage to cards that fight units with Encore, meaning that even if you don't fight him head on, you're still gonna feel his power. Lore-wise, we won't cover anything right now, but this heavy metal tyrant is here to stay and sing their soul out. And now let's wrap this baby up with a stat analysis. They have a solid combo, solid power, great defense, and effects are their greatest asset, mainly from Amp, Encore, and Crowd. In terms of playstyle, they have no countering, are super aggressive, have great defensive capabilities, and some insane utility. Overall, I think we'll put them right here on the archetype matrix. Anyway, that's going to be all for this episode. Thank you for watching. Drop a sub, drop a like, and drop some respect for the rock zombies in the comments. Later!